Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a special event. I had a request to play yellow-orange and kind of show how I navigate the matchups a little bit. So I'm going to go over the deck list real quick. I'm not going to go too into detail, but I will go over a couple of the cards and then we'll get into some games. So you have your standard yellow big mythic package with Sapo and Twins, and Zolia, which is, your typical control package. We even have Scourge of Serpents. Yellow-orange plays more like a token-style mid-range deck. So you have cards like Olama Rings, which give all your creatures +1/+1. And these are like the most important cards in the deck. Just the ability to generate bigger cards for less mana anytime you can play something that's technically ahead of curve is pretty powerful. In that aspect, we also have Model of Duality. So Model of Duality rewards us for playing more creatures to the board. So it's basically our engine. This is definitely up there in terms of important cards, but more so against the control decks and less so against the aggro decks. So against aggro, don't feel bad about burning it. We do have the one of Enchanter Eater because random enchantments are necessary to deal with. We have a one of Volition to give haste or rush, whatever you want to call it, to cards like Enchanter Eater or even Sapo just to end the game. The typical 4 Eager Recruits, Lamp of Wonders, great card at just helping you find what you need in the early game. Decertification Engine is probably the best bodied creature in orange at 3 mana. Shadowvar Beast helps us play against the aggro decks a little bit better by lowering their power while, also making them easier to trade with. Parry, staple, Scion, staple, Seal, staple, One of Temptation, because sometimes you just need it to clear out a blocker or make a value trade. Getting 2-for-1s is great. Heaven, staple. Kushiel, just late game bomb. Lavish Proxy hopefully keeps us alive. Armageddon Angel, again, staple. Herald of Pestilence, he's probably the reason to play this color combination. Not the sole reason, but he's up there. Just his static ability is insanely powerful, and a 4/7 with armor 1 is extremely hard to trade into, especially when he's weakening the cards on the other side. Godsbane's Transport is one of those cards that, because we're more of a token style deck, we get rewarded for playing this card, whereas opposed to other control decks wouldn't. Messo's a pretty standard card, and rounding out the deck list, we have Orbital Jamming Satellite, just another artifact that we can use to protect our other artifacts, and Wonder Drug, of course, a staple, along with Misanthropia. So let's get into some games. Hop on this ladder real quick. There will not be any video editing, so I do apologize for any extremely long wait times. Looks like we don't have to deal with that today, at least not for the first one. And newly crowned champion Myth is our first opponent. Looks like he's playing a Fires of Creation deck. So looking at my hand, Scion seems like I have to burn an orange card here so I can deploy to the board. So if I burn Scion, then I have a decent follow-up for turn 2. But Scion is really good, and I usually avoid burning mythics, but in this case we're going to go ahead and do it. And the first creature's placement is not too relevant. You could play it in 2, you could play it in 1, you could play it in 4. It's not too extremely debilitating one way or the other. Unfortunately, we didn't draw another orange card, so we can't go token into token, or Eager Recruit into token. We will burn one of these Wonder Drugs and deploy an Eager Recruit. I'm just trying to pressure the board. We don't have the tools to go late against a deck like this, so we want to get down as quickly as possible. So we've established that we're going to be the aggressor in this matchup. He should most definitely have drawn there, I think. Obama Rings is great. That's our cute little nickname for the card if you haven't heard that one already. And by stunning this, we get to make sure that our recruits stay alive, and then next turn we'll be able to burn a card and play Olama Rings, and hopefully be able to put a ton of pressure on our opponent from there. This also allows us to advance our board without extending into a sweeper. He has Olama Rings himself. Makes sense. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and burn an orange card here. We're going to get out the Olama Rings. And first we need to take this trade before we get in the face damage. So in order to keep both my creatures alive, I'm going to attack here, and then attack here. That heals his artifacts up, and then I'm going to go face, dealing more damage. We are susceptible to a thunderclap here, but there was really no way to play around it. Luckily, he did not have the second blue, or doesn't have the thunderclap. So alright, so most likely this hourglass is pointed at this creature. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about the hourglass except to run into it. So, as unfortunate as this is going to explode. Yep. Then we will So by spreading our minions apart, we play around this blast minion because he has to attack a minion. So he was not, because there's space in between them, the blast isn't going to affect another one. And also the satellite will allow a trade. So we'll do that. We'll pass the turn. We went ahead and played the satellite to be mana efficient, but we're not going to use it because we want to use it on our turn to make sure this trade goes through. Now he has to block off this minion over here in 7, because if he doesn't, we're going to get rid of his Olama Ring. So, or he could play an artifact on top of it to protect. That is one thing that is pretty unfortunate about the way that artifacts work in this game. So we'll go ahead and take this trade. I'm going to save the Armageddon Angel. And I'm going to deploy Twins. We could get swept up here by a Misanthropia, but we just need to apply the pressure. And hope he doesn't have it. Alright, so he probably has Armageddon Angel of his own. So hopefully we draw an orange card. That's rough. Oh, the next draw. Yep. That is really unfortunate. Yeah, there's no way to protect the satellite. So, super unfortunate. Might as well use it, save a point of damage. And that was heads up play by him, not playing into my Armageddon Angel by developing artifacts instead. And we're kind of at the point where we're almost out of the game. Like, it's not over, but it's kind of at that point where it basically is. I've kind of fallen out of favor with this deck. After the purple patch, yellow purple just does what this deck does a lot better. It doesn't do the token go wide strategy, but I mean it very well easily could. It just plays a better mid-range deck than this one does. So Godsbane's Transport was a great draw. If there was a draw to get us out of this, that was it. We're also generating him a ton of mana with this drop near band. So if he has a Sapo, that's basically the game. Kushiel's really good too. Jesus. Yeah, double llama rings is just so hard to beat. And this is way too late. Not drawing any removal was also pretty brutal, so. But yeah, purple just has the better late game cards now. I mean, orange has great mid game, but like Kushiel just, I mean, like it's a good threat. It just doesn't do anything other than attack. Whereas like a lot of the purple threats get value, like Perfect Grade, and even Daijoju if it sticks around. So that was game one. We'll get one more. And you can see where this deck really lacks the top end, like just it doesn't have the ability to go over the top of the other control decks. So you really rely on that early pressure. And yeah. Nope, there's our match. I was really hoping we could queue in against someone who was playing red-orange. That way I could show you guys how to navigate that matchup, since that's a very popular one. We do not appear to have that luck. Impel means it's probably some sort of mid-range or control deck. I would suspect green-yellow from here. Actually, Wake the Bones probably means green-purple. And that's going to be another really rough matchup for this deck. Yep, green-purple. And like, if you look at my hand, like I have all these control tools that would be great against an aggro deck, but I just don't have the cards to beat a control deck. Like, Godsbane's Transport can be really great, but it's just so far away. And like, Shadowvar Beast isn't gonna do anything. We'll go ahead and move over. 1 damage is not going to be too relevant. And we'll go ahead and parry. Try and set up a better Olama Rings. Finding another parry is great. Finding a Heaven in back might give us a chance in this matchup. Green-purple usually lacks enchantment removal. So there's the occasional player that plays the Feng Shui the 3-drop that enters the battlefield and destroys an unoccupied enchantment. I'm terrible with names, guys, if you haven't already noticed. That was really unfortunate. And again, we're just going to follow it over, draw some cards. With the Olama Rings, I'm going to go ahead and take the Scourge of Serpents and then burn the Misanthropia. We're getting to the point where Sapo can be an actual play, so we don't have to rely on the Misanthropia to kill whatever my opponent is playing. And this value engine is incredible, and the biggest reason that green-purple is a deck is because of this value engine.
Leave it all on the track.
Interesting. Alright. So here, unfortunately, we're going to have to burn the lamp. And then I'm going to play the twins next to each other. I should have played this twin in lane 6 instead of lane 7, and then played this one in lane 7. This way, if they have a murmur, I can trade twin for twin. We have the Seal of Exile for Iku or Quartz Stag. And if they just try and block rings or to heaven and back, will be a great play.
Your strength.
Okay. So because this is 11 damage, I'm going to go ahead and play the Olama rings if they don't have a blocker, just to get this Shroud of the Pit off the table and give us a chance. This also gets my Olama rings in play, and that sets up a really good Scourge of Serpents in the future. And they're down to 2 cards, which is pretty good for us. So let's go here. And we've taken care of the biggest threat that they pose. And we're actually going to go ahead and burn that and stun the Jinsuk, just to make sure that they can't take any favorable trades, and then pass the turn. It was unfortunate that we had to burn our Scourge there, but makes the most sense. And having double Seal of Exile means any one big threat is not going to be able to stop what we've got going on here. And so now we're kind of playing a more tempo-oriented game. We've transferred into the state of the game where we have established a board, and now we just need to keep removing their threats and keep getting in damage. And so depending on what their play is here, I could definitely see Sapoing Jinsuk. Yeah, like that play did nothing. So we're definitely going to Sapo Jinsuk. And I feel like we're far enough ahead that I can go ahead and burn this to heaven and back. And now my opponent is in a very tight squeeze, and the fact that they're casting Raid the Tombs means that Iku is their only quote-unquote out that they're playing to, and I have the Seal of Exile for it, so that's going to be game, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I check and respond to them as quickly as possible. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let you know when my next video is coming out. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more of it, I also stream on Twitch. Link will be posted in the description below. And let me know what you guys think of this kind of impromptu, just out of the blue video, and maybe we can do more. I'm always in Discord, so feel free to hit me up there. Thanks for coming out, guys. See you later.